So there's a lower threshold also due to the prompting. So you don't have to, be a very great with Adobe program. You don't have to have all these technical skills, use Figma or anything else. You just have to know how to write a prompt. So the investment, as I mentioned, is much lower compared to traditional media production. So there's actually no reason why you cannot shine. There is an opportunity for everybody here. If you are interested in this part, this kind of creation, and this profession, that you do not need the network, you do not need the education, and you do not need the background that was maybe necessary before. So we have started with syntography, which is AI photography, which is static content. And we do concepting, art direction for that kind of content. So this is, for instance, a startup brand, didn't have any resources, needed a photographic campaign, would have been pretty expensive to create this, needed a set, you needed models, you needed props, you needed a stylist, you needed makeup and hair. So that would have cost them way too much. So they now can create a professional campaign with little resources. Also, what a great part of Gen AI is that it can visualize a brand activation, or it can visualize a brand in a whole new way, in an imaginative way. But we can make it imaginative, but still make it look as if it's real. So for social purposes, social media purposes, this is a very valuable good. And this was the final image we created. So this canal obviously doesn't really exist. There's no blue house on the canals. It looks like the Amsterdam canals. It's not really that, but it's close enough, and I suppose everybody recognizes it here as being, Dutch or from Amsterdam. So for instance, this is also a good example for the bigger brands. So it creates a very big opportunity for the small brands, because they now can make like high-end productions. But it also creates an amazing opportunity for the big brands, and that's very interesting, because the big brands have a lot to win with generative AI. And why is that? It is because, for instance, this production, you would need an airport and have a shoot at an airport. This is technically impossible. No airport is going to give you permission to do that. Then the airport needs to be branded to KLM colors. Okay, you probably would have done that in post-production with retouching, Photoshop. It's pretty expensive. Then you needed to cast two models from different parts of the world. You have to fly them over to have a shoot with them. And because it's a big brands pay a lot of the part of the media production budget to licensing. Because if that face is going to be used all over the world on all kinds of airports, it is going to be a very expensive model. They pay a lot of money to the licensing. So the fact that this model doesn't really exist means that they don't have to pay that part. So for big brands, this is a very interesting part of using Gen AI. So now the most recent thing we got into is product placement. I think it's also a very interesting part to use AI. So we know this is a Bugaboo stroller. This is a brand of stroller, Dutch brand. We never made a photograph of this Bugaboo stroller. This is all 100% created with AI. So what we did, remember when I told you about the LoRa in the beginning, where you had the foundation model and then a top layer, a little top layer? So we trained the LoRa on this Bugaboo stroller. And then the tool was so aware of how that stroller looked that it could recreate the stroller. I'm going to go to the stroller. So that's the real stroller on the left, and this is the synthetic stroller. So it's almost identical. It is good to know that that generative AI tools are a little bit inaccurate. So you also always have to be very careful with the details. Make sure you notice them, you optimize them. So for instance, who can tell what is not good, like what's not correct? Can anybody tell what's different of the two? You with the blue white shirt. Yes, you. Stand up.
The color.
Yes, that's also a little bit true, but that was because we created a new color for Bugaboo, so that's true. The color is not the same. Who knows anything? Does anybody know something? Here at the back.
For me, what I can see is that the logo placements are different. The logo on the right is a little bit lower, and then the shape of the carriage is slightly different as well.
Yes.
Smaller, yes.
Well, that's definitely true, but that's also because it's a little bit churned. So this one is a little bit like, but you are right. And actually, like the
placement of the logo.
For holding what's like the dimensions. Generative AI doesn't recognize dimensions, so suddenly it can also create a stroller like that in a huge size. So that's definitely a good eye for detail. So there's also one thing that's not accurate here, and that's the wheels on the front. They're too small. And this is the level of eye detail that you have to have, because the brand is going to want the wheels to be the same. Especially, I think all brands are like that, but especially European, American clients love or need it to be very accurate. So that's good to be aware of. But still, I mean, we can get already here, and it was just a test. So if we really optimize that, we can get to 99% accuracy, and the rest we do with Photoshop generative fill or just retouching. So for instance, this was a test for Sephora. We trained the model of the images of the left, and what you do, you take 5 to 15, 10 to 25 images of that product, you feed it to the model, and then it outputs this. And the great thing is that it doesn't need to be professional input. You don't have to have professional photographs of the product. You can use your phone, make images from all around, snapshots, make sure the lighting is good, make sure that it's high res, but you can do it with your phone. So you don't need to hire a photographer to create the training data for you. You can do it yourself. And this is a Porsche 311 T3. I'm very bad with cars. Somebody's now going to kill me probably, but this is I thought a 311. And this is the real image, and that's a synthetic reproduction of it. So it can get super accurate. And a shoot like this would have been hundreds of thousands of euros to create a shoot like this. And now you can create it, well, with barely zero actually. The value is not in how much time it cost or how much effort it took to create it. The value of the output is your creative vision. So your creativity is the thing that can make you earn a living as a Gen AI creator. And that's actually the only thing that's really important. Because everybody can create, in a few years time, everybody can create a picture with a car in it. Will it be accurate? Perhaps not, you have to pay attention. But will it be good? We all have most of us have a phone with a camera, right? There are photographers who make professional output with iPhone cameras, but 99.9% of the people cannot do that. So also with generative AI, it's like everybody has access to the tools. Everybody has access to the same tools. Everybody has access to ChatGPT. Everybody can access Gen AI visual tools. But almost nobody can use it at the professional level. So this is where your value is. Get very good, and then you become valuable.